The center began with two former school board members, urban school board members, who were very frustrated. They had seen that it had taken them a long time to figure out what their role really was and how were they going to be effective and work with their superintendent. So they created a curriculum. It's research-based, began working on weekends with a couple of board members, and eventually developed a program for freshman board members so that as you come on, you can now best understand your role and take off and hit the ground running. The program has evolved now into year-long programs working with districts deeply, with board members, superintendents, and often the top staff, because those are often the people that are going to have to do a lot of the work that superintendents and board members commit to. So we've now trained board members in almost every state. We've been working in probably close to 200 districts, most of the largest in this country, for the past 10 years. Right now at CRSS, we'd like to see every school board trained in the country. That's a pretty big task. We want to see board members understand their roles, superintendents theirs, begin to build a reform agenda, commit to those things, empowering schools and teachers to do their work. Because it's a pretty big country with 15,000 boards, we've looked at creating an online version of our curriculum. We're research-based. We believe that every board member should have access to that curriculum. There are a lot of really good people in this country, all focused on improving the lives of our children. But we've got thousands, if not millions, of classrooms, and it's very hard to have an impact in every classroom, except when you begin to focus on the school district. So we think that our most important work is actually at the superintendent and board level. We use a research-based curriculum focused on the skills that superintendents and boards need in order to be most effective at supporting innovation, clearing roadblocks, creating opportunities, and creating a huge impact in every classroom in their district. CRSS is effective because we meet board members in kind of their scariest place. They're not sure what their role should be. They want to make a huge difference. They've run, they're sacrificing family time, but they're not sure what they're supposed to do. And they're not sure what the superintendent's supposed to do. And surprisingly, many superintendents aren't sure what the board is all about. So we are able to bring in board members, superintendents, folks who've been there, done that. We have over 50 Harvard-style case studies where you can learn from others, as well as a very effective need-based curriculum, but also research-based. So the things you're learning from us are the things you're using every day, and you begin to see improvements in your relationship in the governance team, as well as your ability to move the student achievement dial. While causality is very difficult to prove in education, we can talk about correlation. And there is a high correlation between the skills that we teach from our research-based curriculum and the things that are necessary, the environment necessary to improve student achievement. Our school boards that have been through extensive training have a very high retention rate because we look at where they were when we started, and then after a year have those principles, those good behaviors, those policies, have those things stuck. And we're finding a very high retention rate. Because there's a lot of training available for school boards across the country, unfortunately most of it a mile wide and an inch deep, many people confuse what we do. We are not that training. We are not episodic, drop in every now and then and take a little lesson kind of training. Instead, you commit to a deep curriculum that will study all the moving parts of what it takes to become a transformational school board and a district focused on student achievement. At CRSS, we have trained over 200 school boards in 38 states. Our work has had a big impact on the lives of over 6 million children. Many of these are nation's most at-risk children. Most school boards receive training piecemeal and at a pretty low cost, but it doesn't really create that transformation that we need in order to create pretty dramatic reform across the country. And boards, when they seek deep training, are criticized for spending money on themselves. Now, interestingly, we would be appalled to go to a doctor who didn't receive continuing, ongoing deep training, but we let school boards and superintendents just sort of make it up. So for us, one of the big challenges is getting communities comfortable with their board getting ongoing training so that they can create the kind of district that we need in this country right now. School boards are reluctant to spend funds on their own training. Additional funds would allow us to expand what we do with boards across the country and train more. In addition, we would create a curriculum that is targeted particularly toward charter schools. Most charters have boards and they need training as well. After so many years of leading large governance organizations, our CRSS team has developed a great expertise, not only in school board training, but in also helping districts improve the management portion of their organization. Performance audits, instructional audits, financial audits. It creates a very nice partnership with a board that is moving on reform when the management part of the organization is also able to reform its work.